Hey guys, welcome back to Educator Fresh. Solomon here, and we are still continuing on our series of sense organs. Today we shall be handling the eye. So I guess you can say it's eyeball day. In fact, it's eyeball time. The human eye. Now, the globe of the human eye, or what we call the eyeball, consists of the sclera, which is a tough outer layer of connective tissue. So this is the sclera right here. This is the sclera. That's the outermost tissue. And then it has a thin pigmented layer that's called the choroid, the layer that comes after the sclera. So if we describe it from out, we start with the sclera, we go to the choroid, and then we say at the front of the eye, the sclera becomes a transparent cornea. So as it goes like this in front here, it becomes a transparent cornea. And then the cornea, of course, lets light into the eye, and it acts as a fixed lens. Also at the front of the eye, the choroid forms a donut-shaped iris. So this is what we call here, this thing here. So the choroid comes like this, and then forms something that is a bit circular, but we are seeing it on the side, of course. So this choroid at the center, at the front here, is what gives what we call eye color. Now, by changing the size of the choroid, the structure it forms, called the iris, regulates the amount of light entering the pupil. The hole in the center of the iris, and so when the iris contracts or becomes larger, when it becomes smaller, less light enters. When it becomes wider, more light enters. Just inside the choroid, the retina forms the innermost layer, like this here. The retina forms the innermost layer of the eyeball, and it is on the retina, we're going to talk about it in detail, where we have neurons and photoreceptors. Okay, what are the functions of each? Let's start, of course, with the sclera, which is the outermost. So I said the sclera, because it is rigid, maintains the shape of the eyeball and protects the inner layer of the eye. It is followed by the conjunctiva. This is a thin transparent layer over the cornea, just up here like this. It is a thin transparent layer over the cornea, and its purpose is to protect the cornea. The choroid layer, which you said is the pigmented layer, that is present beneath the sclera, contains numerous blood vessels, and their purpose is to nourish the retina. And then the purpose of the pigmentation is to prevent unnecessary reflection within the eye. Okay, ciliary muscle, these muscles here, ciliary muscle, that are collected in the ciliary body. So these are the muscles of the ciliary body which control shape and focusing power of the lens. Okay, so the ciliary muscle are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. We talked about it a bit earlier, and their purpose is to alter the shape of the lens. When they contract, the lens becomes spherical. When they relax, they go back upwards, and the lens becomes a bit more thin. The suspensory ligaments are just after the ciliary body, and they are thread-like ligaments that attach the ciliary body to the lens. So these ligaments here between the ciliary body and the lens, they are small threads called suspensory ligaments, and their role is to attach the ciliary body to the lens. Now we have liquids inside here. For example, we have the aqueous humor here, and then we have the vitreous humor. The role of the aqueous humor, it is a solution of sugar, salts, and proteins. Its role is to maintain the shape of the eye and also reflect light into the pupil and the lens. The vitreous humor is a jelly-like substance that fills the inner cavity of the eye. So it is a It's not very soft, not very liquid, but at the same time not solid. It's a jelly-like substance that fills the inner cavity of the eye. It is transparent and it maintains the shape of the eye. Furthermore, its other role, still on the vitreous humor, is to refract light. So we reflect light at the cornea, we refract it at the aqueous humor, the lens, and then we further refract light at the vitreous humor. The ciliary body, this one here, we have already said that it contains muscles, and the purpose of these muscles is to control the size of the lens when they are viewing near or distant objects. The lens itself is transparent and it is held in place by suspensory ligaments. It refracts light to make an image on the retina. So like you can see this object here, light comes, light has to be bent and refocused back on the retina. The iris, I hinted on it when I was talking about the ciliary muscles. The iris is made up of an opaque tissue, but at the center it has a hole that is called a pupil. And the pupil, this one here, the blue ones are the iris. The role of the pupil is to allow light to go through them and form an image on the retina. Now, the contraction of the muscles of the iris increases the size of the pupil, and relaxation decreases the size of the pupil. It is therefore responsible for controlling the amount of light that enters the eye. Why? Because if it becomes long and there's no light, it's going to become short. Okay. The retina, this is this layer here behind. The retina is the layer containing the photoreceptor cells, which are responsible for sensing light, and this is where the image is going to be formed. But on the retina we have a region called the blind spot. Let me see if it was labeled here. Okay, so the blind spot basically is a region where the nerve fibers leave the eye to join the optic nerve, and that region has no light sensitive cells. So when an image falls on this point, that image is not taken to the brain. This is why it is called a blind spot. The opposite of a blind spot, interestingly, is what we call a fovea. Not typical opposites. I'm using it for conversation's sake. The fovea has is like a small depression in the center of the retina, and it only has one type of photosensitive cells, and those are the cones. It is therefore a region on the retina that contains the largest number of sensory cells. Due to this, it produces the most accurate image in the eye. Finally, if you are watching with me, touch your eyelids. I hope you have them. The purpose of the eyelids is to protect the eye and remove any foreign bodies that enter it. Regular blinking enables the spread of fluid over the exposed surface of the eye. So if you ever get anything in the eye, yeah, you're advised to blink, keep blinking, so that the whole eye is going to be sprayed with eye salve from the eye itself. And then finally, the eyelashes. These prevent dust and other objects from entering the eye, and frankly, I believe they also provide beauty. In the next video, we are going to be looking at how light is going to be seen, how light forms on the eye, and we're going to talk about accommodation of the eye. This is Educator Fresh. Thank you for watching, and have a good evening. Have a good day.